Welcome to Amped on Demand and the whiteboard briefing of today's workout for CrossFit Amped and CrossFitAmped.com. For the warm-up, we have 4 rounds of 20 seconds of work, 10 seconds of rest of each of the 3 following movements. We got jumping jacks, up downs, and Cossack squats. So you'll do 20 seconds of jumping jacks, then take a 10-second break, 20 seconds of up downs, and then a 10-second break, and 20 seconds of Cossack squats, and then a 10-second break, and you'll repeat that for 4 rounds. Now for the jumping jack, we want a light bounce on each one of our feet, moving our hands up and down. If you can keep those arms straight, go for it. One thing we want to make sure we do is when we're jumping our feet out, we don't let our knees cave in. We want our knees out as wide as they can be when we're doing our jumping jacks. Another thing we don't want to do is toe in too much on that hop. We want to make sure our feet are pointed straight forward and that we're getting a light bounce on our toes, kissing our heels off the floor. An up down is just a burpee without lowering yourself all the way down to the ground and without the jump. So you'll put your hands on the ground, you'll jump your feet back, you'll jump your feet back forward, and then you'll stand right back up. I like to jump my feet out wide. That helps me land flat on my foot rather than on my toes. Takes a little bit of the pressure off your knees. For the Cossack squat, we're going to start in a really wide stance. Then we're going to push our hips back and go down to one side, making sure our knee is outside of our ankle. Then we're going to stand right back up, making sure we keep our feet really wide. Then go down to the other side by pushing those hips back, keeping that knee tracking our shoelaces. For the workout, we have a 20-minute AMRAP of 5 burpees, 10 single arm push presses, 20 weighted lunges, and a 200-meter run. So what you're gonna do is start a 20-minute clock. You'll do your 5 burpees, you'll do your push press, you'll do your weighted lunges, then you'll go out on your run and you'll repeat that as many times as you can in that 20 minutes. Now, if for some reason you can't run, our typical scale for that would be step back lunges or jumping lunges. However, we already have lunges in the workout today, so instead of running, what we're gonna scale to is running in place, and you'll just do that for 1 minute. Now for those burpees, what we're gonna do is put our hands down on the ground, jump our feet back to high plank, lower ourselves down to the ground, press ourselves back up to high plank and jump those feet back forward. Then we're gonna stand up and jump, go back down and do it again.
Put your hands down, jump your feet back, lower yourself down, jump your feet forward, stand up and jump.
Now for that push press, we're going to start in the front rack position with one weight right at our shoulder. Elbow's going to be down, wrist and elbow are going to be in a straight line. You're going to dip down, keeping your chest straight up, making sure your knees don't cave in. Then you're going to drive through your heels. Once your hips and knees finish extending, you're going to drive that weight directly over your head. Now let's make sure when that weight is overhead, we have no excessive arch in our low back, and we're in a straight line from wrist down to elbow, down to shoulder, down to hip, down to knee, down to ankle, down to the ground.
Chest up, back flat, dip straight down, drive through your heels, keeping your feet down until your hips and knees finish extending, then press the weight overhead.
For those weighted lunges, where you hold the weight is going to depend on what you're using. If you're using one weight in one arm, you'll continue to hold that in the front rack position. If you have a larger load that requires you to hold it with both hands, you'll hold it in the goblet position. For that lunge, you're going to start standing up with your feet next to each other. You'll either step forward and bring your knees to 90 and 90-degree angles and then step your foot back, or you'll start by stepping backwards, bringing your knees to 90 and 90-degree angles, and then stepping that back foot forward. You can choose step back or step forward lunges. Biggest thing in that lunge is making sure we're not pushing our front knee forward of our toes.
Holding a weight in the front rack position, take a big step forward, lower your knee down to the ground, making sure there's a 90-degree bend in each one of your legs. Drive through that front foot while you're bringing your feet back together.
Scaling options for the burpee would be doing an up down just like we did in the warm-up, so you wouldn't lower yourself all the way down to the ground and you wouldn't jump. Scaling options for the push press, we'll just scale the load there. If for some reason you can't use your hips to violently extend overhead, we can do a strict press, which just would eliminate that dipping of the hips. Scaling options for the weighted lunge, let's eliminate the weight from the lunge, and if for some reason you can't do that lunging movement, we can do air squats instead. For your cool down, we got a pretty fun one. 5 minutes of practice standing on one foot. So you'll take that 5 minutes and alternate back and forth between each foot. If you think that's a little bit too easy, let's try doing it with our eyes closed. I hope you guys have a great time with this workout. Thanks for tuning in to Amped on Demand.